Solo Leveling is back, baby! After just a year since its debut season 1, one of the best anime of 2024 has returned for its super hyped second season. Yeah, we're talking about Solo Leveling. This is by far probably the anime that I was most looking forward to in winter 2025, but to be fair, that's not very hard when most of this seasonal anime blocks anime are all like horny isekai. Hello, you beautiful people. I am Finn. Welcome back to finnfilms. Join me today as we are going to be breaking down and explaining everything that happened in Season 2, Episode 1 of Solo Leveling. An episode where high school girls fawn over Jinwoo, a bunch of hunters get locked in a portal, and an undead army fights a pack of wild bears. So real quick recap, real quick speed run of Season 1 of Solo Leveling. Our boy Jinwoo has died and then reborn again with the ability to level up and went through a massive glow up. Our main character, our boy Jinwoo, did some power leveling, killed the younger brother of an S-ranked hunter, as well as switched classes, claiming the ability to summon an undead army, nearly dying in the process in the season finale of Season 1. Season 2, Episode 1 begins with Jinwoo waking up the following day, I presume, from the finale of Season 1, forgetting that he needs to meet with his sister's teacher for her performance evaluation in school. He goes to the school sporting a new haircut and a new style, and all of the high school girls completely fawn over him. I know that this anime in this genre is very much kind of a classic, like, anime power fantasy, but let's be honest here, the real power fantasy in Solo Leveling isn't the crazy powers, the crazy leveling up in a video game system. No, it's the massive glow up that my boy went through. I mean, imagine dying a brutal death and then waking up and now you're hot. I'm gonna call that worth. So Jinwoo meets with his sister's teacher. She tells him that his sister is doing absolutely fantastic in school and everything is going well on her track to eventually becoming a doctor and heading to medical school. The teacher then asks him, should his sister's hunter's power awaken? Should she gain hunter powers? Would he allow her to become a hunter? Jinwoo's obvious answer being no. I mean, we need to remember that the only reason that Jinwoo is actually risking his life as a hunter every day is to provide for his family, to send his sister to medical school, and to pay for his mother's very expensive medical bills. We also need to remember that he was doing this before he suddenly became an OP badass, back when he was just a little weakling and struggling to survive, literally risking his life every single day just to provide for his sister and his mother. So there's absolutely no shot that Jinwoo would ever let his sister risk his life like he does being a hunter. His teacher assumed this, so she asks him one more thing: to go and speak with his sister's best friend, Han Song-ji. A character that should be familiar to us, the young E-ranked hunter who Jinwoo paid to stand outside of a portal in Season 1. She just so happens to be one of his sister's closest friends who recently we learned dropped out of school in order to pursue a career being a hunter after her hunter power awakens. A career that is very likely to get her killed. Jinwoo, wanting to help her, wanting to show her just how dangerous this line of work is, decides to take her on a raid with the White Tiger Guild so she can see the real danger of the hunter profession, accompanying a group of B, C, and even an A-ranked hunter named Kim Chul into a dungeon so she can see just how dangerous these raids are. Meanwhile, we see a cocky, jacked hunter arrive at the airport, being met by the chairman of the Hunters Association, Woo Jin-chul. This is the S-ranked hunter Hwang Dong-soo, the younger brother of Hwang Dong-suk, the hunter that Jinwoo killed in Season 1. Dong-woo, though, has now returned to Korea after taking a job with a Hunters Guild in America. Many people in Korea viewing him as a traitor for doing this. His reputation absolutely plummeting, as many Koreans resent him for abandoning his homeland to what they think is to pursue money and to pursue power. Now he's back, though, and he wants revenge. Revenge on the man who killed his brother, revenge on Jinwoo, making it his life's mission now to find and kill Jinwoo. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Song-yi enter the gate with the raid team, but something is wrong, and Jinwoo knows it. Suddenly, the gate begins to glow red, the gate beginning to close as Jinwoo manages to stick his head out to tell the guild to send the primary strike team, but it's too late. The gate closes, revealing that this is a red gate, a red portal. Unlike a normal gate, red gates can only be exited by either killing the main boss or by causing a dungeon break. As well, red gates typically have much stronger magical beasts and monsters inside of them, making them exceptionally deadly. What was originally thought to be a C-ranked portal, a C-ranked dungeon, is now something closer to possibly an A-ranked dungeon. The group are in a real predicament now, as this was supposed to be a training exercise to allow young, inexperienced hunters to get some experience. Now, however, this is quickly turned into a life or death situation, the group suddenly being ambushed by a group of ice elves, killing some of the members. Jinwoo being the only one who saw the sneak attack coming, because Jinwoo, surprise surprise, is not an E-ranked hunter, he's much closer to an S-ranked hunter. The cocky A-ranked hunter Tank, who has assumed the role of the leader of the strike team, decides to split the group up, in his words, in order to increase their odds of survival, as he believes that the C and E-ranked hunters will ultimately be dead weight to the group, and that it is more likely for his group of him and other B-ranked hunters to survive and clear the dungeon if they are to split up, basically condemning the other hunters to their death. However, one of the B-ranked hunters, a woman named Park Hee-jin, decides to join Jinwoo's group, as she realizes that there is much more to him than meets the eye, as he was the only one who actually saw the Ice Elf ambush coming. Hee-jin hitting us with the line that is the title of the episode, "You aren't an E-ranked hunter, are you?" Yeah, it seems like it's definitely getting more and more difficult for Jinwoo to hide his power level, as he is basically bordering on an S-tier hunter at this point. So the group splits into two groups, heading into two different directions. The team with the A-ranked hunter heading into the clearing, in which they encounter a large pack of ice bears, which they defeat relatively easily, the captain showing his A-ranked status. However, his cockiness and his decision to split the party up will ultimately lead to him and his group's downfall, which we will see later on in the episode. Meanwhile, Jinwoo's group encounter their own signs of ice bears, Jinwoo telling them that this is a good thing, as they would much rather face these ice bears than the much more intelligent and calculating ice elves that ambushed them earlier. Jinwoo produces some warm clothes from his item bank for everyone in the group, causing the rest of the party to realize that he is not just a normal hunter, as even the most high-ranked hunters have trouble storing multiple items, which is obviously nothing for our OP main protagonist Jinwoo. Jinwoo promises that he is going to do his best to get everyone out alive as long as they don't ask any questions, as he goes full OP protagonist, soloing a large pack of these bears, switching titles to Wolf Assassin, which gives him a 40% increase in damage against all animal-type monsters. Meanwhile, the higher-ups of the White Tiger Guild have assembled outside the red gate, but there's nothing that they can do, as again, this is a red gate, it is sealed shut, so they're just going to have to hope that all of the hunters can defeat the boss and manage to escape. One of the guild members lets slip that it is very possible that Jinwoo will survive this red gate, as he is much more than meets the eye, and then it is very possible that he has undergone a reawakening, something that is exceptionally rare in the solo leveling universe. Suddenly, though, the men are interrupted by the arrival of Dong-soo, who has tracked Jinwoo down to this gate, as his original plan was to enter the dungeon and kill Jinwoo there. However, because this is a red gate, he's just going to have to stand outside and wait, the man assuming that Jinwoo will likely die within the red gate within the dungeon, as everyone still assumes that Jinwoo was just a normal E-ranked hunter. Back in the dungeon, we see that Jinwoo has dispatched with most of the bears and set up camp for his team, but we learn that he is off by himself to get more after-meal exercise. What he is actually doing is testing out the new ability that he received in the season finale of Season 1, where we saw during the job change quest, Jinwoo unlocked the Necromancer class and the hidden class, the Shadow Monarch, with the ability to summon an undead army, something that nearly cost him his life to obtain. He seemingly finds the source of these ice bears with a cave with a large pack of them, summoning the Shadow Army to see how powerful this skill really is. The army is able to defeat the large pack of bears with a combination of its infantry and mage artillery, but it does cost Jinwoo a lot of mana to maintain the spell and to resummon them whenever they are destroyed. Suddenly, though, the alpha bear leader, the leader of the pack, appears, being much stronger than all of the other bears in the pack. He's basically an elite enemy in an MMO sense, if you will, the bear alpha slaughtering and destroying all of the Shadow Army, leading it up to the army's leader, Igris. Egress being the Shadow Warrior that we saw in the Season 1 finale that nearly killed Jinwoo. We watch as Egress easily takes on this Alpha Bear, cutting it down in epic, bloody, solo leveling fashion. Jinwoo being genuinely surprised with just how powerful that Egress really is, saying that Egress is likely more powerful than he is in his current state, and had Egress had access to his sword during their fight, it's very likely that Egress would have killed him in the Season 1 finale. Jinwoo now being even more insanely powerful than he already was after his switch of classes and his access to this undead army and necromantic abilities. However, the question though lingers, how will this change of classes ultimately affect Jinwoo's personality and how he is as a person going forward? Something that I'm very curious to see how solo leveling is going to play out. The final scene of episode 1 flashes back to the A-ranked hunter and his group, as we see that they have been ambushed by the Ice Elves, the majority of this party lying dead on the ground in a bloody fashion, as the elves slowly pick off the rest of them, leaving only Kim, the surviving A-ranked tank. However, the once cocky, arrogant man's will has completely broken, as we see in our final scene him scream in horror as he runs away in fear. The final shot of the episode showing a shadowy figure, the leader of the Ice Elves, and a character that likely Jinwoo will have to face off with in order for the rest of the party to be able to escape this red gate, as episode 1 of season 2 of Solo Leveling comes to an end. All in all, another banger episode of Solo Leveling and an awesome way to pick up where we left off after the amazingly hyped season 1 of Solo Leveling and its debut last year in winter 2024. Typically, when it comes to anime that have had a real kind of major breakthrough debut season, it's very often that the second season is generally not as good, sometimes a bit underwhelming. This makes sense as generally a season 1 is much more hyped and contains a lot more, dramatic, insane moments as they are really trying to suck you in and make you a fan of the anime to ultimately watch the season 2. And I was a bit worried that season 2 of Solo Leveling might not live up to the hype of season 1 of Solo Leveling, seeing as it was made so quickly and released so quickly after season 1's debut, again only a year later. However, it seems like A1, the studio behind Solo Leveling, has seemed to nail the second season's adaptation, at least so far. To me, one of the most promising things about Season 2 of Solo Leveling is the pacing of the show. It seems like A1 Pictures seems to understand what most fans love about Solo Leveling, which is the brutal, awesome, intense, and amazingly animated and drawn action scenes. The anime keeping the story relatively fast-paced, with plenty of fight scenes and action scenes throughout every single episode, which is very much what the fan base wants from Solo Leveling. I was concerned that Season 2 of Solo Leveling might drop off a bit in terms of its pace, but it seems like, at least so far, A1 Pictures has taken this into consideration, and that it is going to be a relatively fast-paced season. Now again though, things could change throughout the course of Season 2, but ultimately I have pretty high hopes that Season 2 of Solo Leveling will be able to live up to the massive hype that the amazing Season 1 generated just a year ago. I think one of the major challenges of an anime like Solo Leveling is creating tension, creating a real sense of danger and threat in a story about an OP main character, where no one really expects for the main character to die. Obviously, besides, the opening couple of episodes when our wimpy main character dies and then is suddenly reborn as an OP badass. Especially now that the show has shown us just how powerful that Jinwoo has become, it is very hard to create a sense of dread for Jinwoo as a character, a sense that he might actually die, a threat that is more than powerful enough to kill him. But I think the story does a really good job by creating danger and threat, not for Jinwoo, but for those around him. As we know that Jinwoo is more than likely powerful enough to be able to escape this red dungeon by himself, the question is, can he escape it while protecting and keeping everyone alive, including his sister's best friend, who is again only in this dungeon because Jinwoo decided to bring her along. Overall, I thought that Season 2, Episode 1 of Solo Leveling was an awesome episode, an amazing return to Solo Leveling. I'm a big fan of this show for a bunch of obvious reasons. Again, it has amazingly sick, awesome action scenes and amazing animations. I highly recommend that you go and check out the Korean webtoon, the manhwa of this show, if you haven't already and you're a fan of Solo Leveling the anime, because the art in the webtoon is even better than what you are seeing in the anime adaptation. I also really enjoy this show because while on the surface it does just seem like a kind of mindless action anime with a bunch of, trapped in a video game-esque themes, a bunch of, dark shonen kind of adult themes, there's actually a lot of really interesting story that's being told going on in the background, as well as awesome, character progression and character arcs and character motivation taking place. Especially when you compare it to a lot of other anime that are kind of in this genre, this kind of mindless action genre, for example, like Records of Ragnarok. Overall, an amazing episode, an amazing way to kick off Season 2 of Solo Leveling, and I cannot wait for next week's episode for Season 2, Episode 2 of Solo Leveling. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something new, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of Season 2, Episode 1 of Solo Leveling and the return of Solo Leveling. As well, if you did enjoy this video, then why don't you check out some of my other anime content on screen now, like my breakdown of all of the other awesome, interesting anime that are coming out in winter 2025 seasonal anime, or possibly my deep dive into one of my favorite anime of all time, Samurai Champloo. Again, guys, thank you again for continuing to support me. I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, Aru.